James is calling from Walton, Kentucky on our line for independence. James, you're on the Washington Journal.
Good morning, and I just want to say God bless America. But I'm so glad this is all over. But I'm worried how far this is going to take away our civil rights, because people are going to say, oh, now we need to have drones in every sky. And we could have caught him so much easier if we had drones canvassing the neighborhood. And then if it was black powder that they used in the bombing, they might say, okay, let's restrict all reloading powder sales and let's restrict all shotgun shell sales. What do you think about that?
Well, why do you think that that's going to be necessary, James?
Well, I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff on the Internet, people are pointing that out, that this might be part of a bigger agenda to further taking away our rights, that this might have been an inside job, that Blackwater operatives were seen at the Boston Marathon. It just really has me worried.
All right, that's James in Walton, Kentucky. Next up is Kurt in Wilmot, Ohio on our line for Republicans. Kurt, you're on the Washington Journal.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with what was previously just said. All anyone has to do is, anybody who's out there listening, take a look and Google up Operations Gladio, Operations Northwoods, and I was watching Infowars.com just as this was beginning, and within about 3 minutes after them exposing all of the Navy SEALs who were standing at the finish line, within about 2 or 3 minutes, Fox and CNN both started to change their stories. Closing up they decided to present a possible suspect, and all the stories had to have changed. But I think this operation clearly shows just another false flag, much like Aurora and a lot of the other ones. And again, everyone out there, just Google Operations Northwood and Operations Gladio, and you can go to a .gov website and see 200 previous false flags. And I think this one has all the earmarks, particularly the big show that was put on with thousands of police running around all over town looking for one guy. That's all I had to say.
That's Kurt in Wilmot, Ohio. On Twitter, we've got this tweet from Don Ritchie, who writes, "When did we vote to give police the authority to shut down a metro area and lock millions in their homes to catch one criminal?" Hey, Scott, as a defense attorney, talk to me about this item here in this morning's New York Times, where they say a federal law enforcement official said he would not be, this is Johar Zarniev, would not be read his Miranda rights because the authorities would be invoking the public safety exception in order to question him extensively about other potential explosive devices or accomplices and try to gain intelligence.
I don't agree with that. I think everybody should be given their Miranda rights.
So if he's not given his Miranda rights, then can they can't use anything that he talks to them about in a trial should this case go to trial, correct?
That's correct. And that's why I said that everybody should be given their Miranda rights. Even the ones that are down in Gitmo, all those people should have been given Miranda rights and everything else.
All right.
Because that's how America works.
More tweets coming in at C-SPAN WJ. This one from Bill Beatty, who writes, "What we really saw was our government paramilitary police take over a city in the end. I was not impressed," he writes. Mike in Thomasville, North Carolina, on our line for independence. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was calling. My concern is with the security of the event. With all the private security they have from Kraft International that was 20 feet away from where the bombing happened in the first place, and the fact there are other bombs found up the road, this has actually come off the police scanners itself. There was not any suspicious packages. It was actually devices that were found, and they're not telling anybody about. And this stuff is all available on other sites, other media besides the mainstream media. I'm just wondering why you guys or the mainstream media kind of stays away from this stuff and doesn't actually report the truths that are out there.
Next, we're going to go to George in Staten Island, New York, on our line for Republicans. Good morning, Joe. George, sorry.
Hi, good morning. First, I'd like to say I think it's unbelievable that a U.S. citizen is not being Mirandized on U.S. soil. The Fifth Amendment says no person shall be held to answer for capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, which obviously this is not. You're setting an unbelievable precedent. It's horrible. Second, I'd like to say the fact that almost 400 people have been killed by U.S. and NATO planes in the past 3 days while they've been searching for these people in Pakistan. It's crazy. And third, I don't understand how anyone believes this. There's been 25 terrorist attempts since 9/11, and 23 of them, the FBI openly involves giving them the materials, the equipment, and then calling it off at the end. This goes through. You have special forces and soldiers all over the place. You have 1 million people being taken out of their homes. Nothing like this has ever happened in the history of the world, and people are okay with tanks rolling down their streets. This is unbelievable and unnecessary for one suspect. How anyone can take this, I don't understand, but we'll see what happens.
Our next call comes from Dan in Georgetown, Massachusetts, on our line for Independence. Dan, you're on the Washington Journal. Thanks for waiting.
Hi, thanks for having me on, and my condolences to all the victims at the marathon there. But, unfortunately, I'm going to have to side with the last caller there. It's this fact that the FBI has been creating situations where they can, lock people up by starting a terror event, supplying weapons, giving them to patsies to later arrest, so we can have headlines of how we're protecting America and arresting these people. Several callers are correct. There were private contractors. I guess the name is the Craft, which Blackwater has changed, but they had the same insignia of a skull on their hat. And they were all over the finish line area. I mean, you can get on the net and look. We have witnesses. The coach from the University of Memphis stated that there were announcements made before the explosions went off that for people to stay calm, and this was part of a drill. During all this time, several explosions went off during Boston. Apparently, what were they doing? What were all these explosions going off as they were trying to find the killers?
Dan, before I let you go, where is Georgetown in relationship to Boston and Watertown?
Georgetown, about 30 miles north, straight up north, and
so you weren't really affected by the lockdown and the search for the suspect?
No, I wasn't affected just by the constant effect of the fear-mongering that's happening. We've as American citizens, I feel it's our duty to find the truth wherever the truth takes us.
Dan in Georgetown, Massachusetts.
When a tragedy like this happens, with public safety at risk and the stakes so high, it's important that we do this right. That's why we have investigations. That's why we relentlessly gather the facts. That's why we have courts. And that's why we take care not to rush to judgment. Not about the motivations of these individuals, certainly not about entire groups of people.
An al-Qaeda affiliate. If it's domestic, we have to think anti-government. We have the whole gun law issue after Newtown, Connecticut. You've got certain radical groups that are on the rise. You have individuals who are lone wolves that don't really claim to be part of a group, but are very passionate about their viewpoints. Things such as constitutional, the restrictions of constitutional rights. Those are some of the different ideologies that radicals and radical groups will tend to look at in their anti-government focus.
And if we're to look at domestic types of groups, let's not forget that we had the Oklahoma City bombing. That was in April, and now it's Patriots Day. Could this be one of those hot-button months, hot-button times for those types of domestic groups?
You have anniversary dates. You have iconic events such as the Boston Marathon, 4th of July. Those types of dates, times, events are very, very significant, and they mean something to people that want to send a message.
You see this? This is after the explosion. After both explosions. But this guy left the scene with his backpack on. You zoom in and you define it. His elbow cuts up right here, and that is his backpack on his back. He is leaving the scene with his backpack. As for his brother, I'm not sure. He's not in the frame. But the two explosions that went off, they're trying to say that they were set there by these two men from both their backpacks. I'm telling you right now, it's a lie. And I'm showing you proof right here in front of your face. I can't give you any more information to let you know that this is a false flag, other than the guys that they're trying to tell you right now are the men, and they know they're not. They're not. You want me to show you who is the man? This man. Same guy I pointed out to you right here. That white square that we talked about only matches one backpack, and all the people that we viewed, all the people that we looked at in the crowd, matches one man, one backpack with the upper zipper, this guy. And guess what? Guess who's running out of the event with no backpack? Blackwater, Kraft, these guys. They did it. There you go. How much more proof do you need?